Hi everyone! In this video, we will talk about subtopic 3.1 inequalities. The objective of this lesson is to solve quadratic inequalities by using either graphical or analytical method. Quadratic inequalities, they can be written as ax squared plus bx plus c, and the symbol for inequality can be any of these four. So if I have any of these four symbols, it is an inequality. Now it is quadratic because the highest power for the variable x is 2. So this explains why it is a quadratic inequality. And now over here, another condition, a cannot be 0. What happens if a is equal to 0? So I take the first example. I will get 0x squared plus bx plus c greater than 0. 0 multiplied with anything, I'll get 0. So this will be bx plus c greater than 0. This is no longer a quadratic because it is a linear inequality. So a cannot be 0. How to solve quadratic inequalities? There are two methods. The first one is graphical, and the second one is analytical. In analytical, we will learn how to apply or how to use the table of Sine. Solve quadratic inequalities by using graphical method. So look at my example. I have x squared minus 5x greater or equals to negative 6. First of all, this is inequality and it is quadratic. So to do this kind of question, for graphical method, the first step is to factorize. Okay, I can use my calculator to factorize. Factorize the equation, get the zeros. Zeros over here refers to values of x when the function of fx is equals to 0. Or I can also say it is the values of x where the graph cuts the x-axis. So now I will start with factorizing. I'll make sure my right hand side is 0, so I shift negative 6 to the left hand side. So this is plus 6 greater or equals to 0. Factorize using your calculator, you will get these values. Okay, now I let, because I'm interested in the values of x, so I'll let x minus 3 equals to 0, x minus 2 equals to 0, so I have x equals to 3, x equals to 2. So I have two zeros over here, that is x equals to 3 and x equals to 2. Now the second step is to sketch the graph. This time I will sketch the graph. I look at my latest equation, my latest inequality, x squared minus 5x plus 6. The value of a is positive, so the graph will smile. So now I can draw my graph, my x-axis, my graph will smile, and then here it will cut at 2 points, that is 2 and 3. Smaller number on the left, bigger number on the right, so 2 and 3. Look at the inequality symbol. The inequality symbol here is greater than or equals to. This means that the 2 points, 2 and 3, will be close points. Okay, here it will be close points. And now we will consider the symbol again. If it is greater than 0, it means that it is a positive. It is positive. So from the graph, anything above the x-axis is always positive. So this is the region that we want. So now I got my answer already. The shaded region is the answer. I can write this in interval notation. I have two regions here, so I can combine them using union. Now I look at this side first. Numbers on the left, this region will continue to the left, so I don't know how small it is. It will be from negative infinity to 2. Open at negative infinity. 2 is a close point or close bracket. Then union with the other number, that is 3. And then it will continue to the right until it approaches positive infinity. At 3, it is a close point or close bracket. positive union will give me an open bracket. So now for solution set, I need curly bracket. The variable here in the question is x, so x double dot. Two regions to consider, this and this. So now I can start with the left one first. This will give me, this is actually number smaller or equals to 2. So this will give me x smaller or equals to 2. Union means or, and another one, square bracket 3 all the way to positive infinity means x greater or equals to 3. So these are my two answers in the form of interval notation and solution set. Example number 2. For this question, my right hand side is already 0, but I want to write it in a way that my ax squared plus bx plus c is less than or equals to 0, and I want my a to be positive. I want a to be positive, that is a greater than 0. So to make this positive, I will negate everything. I will negate all the equations. So this time I will get x squared plus 5x plus 4. And when I negate each symbol, this becomes positive. This symbol will also be reversed. So now it will be greater or equals to 0. So step number 1, I will factorize. Okay, you can use your calculator, so you get x plus 4, x plus 1, greater or equals to 0. So I let x plus 4 equals to 0, x plus 1 equals to 0. So this is x equals to negative 4, x equals to negative 1. Now I can draw my graph. But before drawing my graph, I check my inequality first. My latest inequality, here a is greater than 0, so it is a smiling graph. Now the graph will smile, my x-axis. Then it will cut at 2 points. The smaller number on the left, that is negative 4, followed by negative 1. Now I consider these 2 points. Are they closed points or open points? So I look at my symbol, the latest symbol. I look at the latest symbol, yeah? Always look at the latest symbol. Greater or equals to, that is closed points. So over here, close points. Next step, I will consider whether I want the one above the x-axis or below the x-axis. Look at the inequality symbol again. It says greater or equals to 0, so it is positive. If it is positive, we always take the one above the x-axis. So now I have my interval notation. I have two sets of answer here, so I can combine them using union because I consider everything. So at the left hand side here, I have negative infinity all the way to negative 4. Open, the point is closed at negative 4, so close bracket. And at the other region, I have negative 1 all the way to the right, will give me positive infinity. Negative 1 is a closed point, so close bracket. And here is open. That is for interval notation, and now I can continue with solution set. So solution set is equals to curly bracket, my variable is x. So you look at your interval notation. Two things to consider here. Numbers that are smaller than negative 4, this will give me x less than or equals to negative 4. It is less than or equals to because the bracket at negative 4 is close bracket. Union means or, and then the other number, negative 1. Okay, these are numbers greater than negative 1. So x greater or equals to negative 1. Okay, now for example number 3, first of all, I will write it in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c greater than 0. So now I have negative x squared plus 3x plus 4 greater than 0. But to make it easy, I want my a to be positive. So I will negate everything, including this symbol. So now my latest one will be x squared minus 3x minus 4 less than 0. Now I can use my calculator to factorize. It will give me x minus 4 and x plus 1 less than 0. To find the zeros, now I let x minus 4 equals to 0. X plus 1 equals to 0. So I get x equals to 4. and x equals to -1. Now I can draw my graph. To draw my graph, I always look at the latest inequality. So here my A is positive, so it will smile. I have a smiling graph. So this time I can draw my graph, x-axis. My graph will smile. Then over here, it will cut the x-axis at 2 points. That is x equals to 4 and x equals to -1. Smaller number on the left, -1 and 4. Now we will check these 2 points, whether they are closed or open. So look at your latest inequality. The latest inequality here is less than. There is no equality symbol. So this means that my 2 points are open. So I will draw open points here. Okay, I have 2 open points here. And now the next step is to consider whether we want the region above the x-axis or the region below the x-axis. So look at the latest inequality again. It is less than 0, so it means that it is negative. If it is negative, then we will consider the one below the x-axis. So we will consider this area. So now my interval notation will give me the 2 numbers, smaller number on the left, bigger number on the right. Both are open points, so open bracket. After I get my interval notation, I can do for solution set. So solution set is equals to curly bracket. I have x double dot. Now, if I look at my interval notation, this means that it will give me the numbers that are between -1 to 4. So -1, x, and 4. Brackets are open, so less than, less than. This is my solution set. Just now we have seen graphical method. Now we will look at analytical method, which is my table of sine. So example number 1, I have this question. So similar to graphical method, I will factorize it first, but before that, make sure my right hand side is 0. So I will do x squared minus 3x minus 4 less than or equals to 0. Now factorize using a calculator. So this will give me x minus 4 and x plus 1 less than or equals to 0. Next step, I will find the zeros. So I let x minus 4 equals to 0 and x plus 1 equals to 0. Therefore, x equals to 4 and then x equals to -1. So after I get these two zeros, I'm going to construct my table of sine. So first of all, what I'll do is, I'll arrange the numbers first because I have 2 values of x, 4 and -1. I'll arrange the smaller number first on the left hand side. So here, above this line, I will write -1, the smaller number. I'll write it above the line. And over here, I will write this as 4. Then after that, I'll determine the point. Okay, -1 and 4 will form 2 points. Will they form open point or closed point? So I look at the latest inequality. Which is less than or equals to. So this means that it will form a closed point. So I will shade these points. Okay, next step, what I'm going to do, after I have my zeros, I am going to copy down the factors. So I have 2 factors here. They are x minus 4 and x plus 1. Okay, these 2 are my factors. Next step, I'm going to build my interval. So the interval over here is -1 to 4. The point at -1 is closed, so bracket here is closed. The point at 4 is also closed, so the point here is closed. And then over here, the interval here will start with number 4, and the number will continue until it approaches positive infinity. The point is closed, so bracket is closed here. Infinity will always give me an open point. And here, at the most left here, I can have an interval also. So I need 2 numbers, smaller number on the left, bigger number on the right. Over here is my -1, close bracket because the point is closed. Then towards the left, the numbers will get smaller, so this will be -infinity. So open bracket. Next step, for table of sine, I will choose a number to play with. So inside this interval, I pick a number. Any number between negative infinity to negative 1. So let's say I pick over here to be negative 2. And in this interval, negative 1 to 4, I can choose any number. I choose the easiest number, that is 0. And the last interval, 4 to positive infinity, let's say I choose 5. Okay, these are my test values. The red ones are my test values. Now my next step will be, take your calculator, look at the factor x minus 4. What happened to x minus 4 when my x is equal to negative 2? So press it inside your calculator. What is negative 2 minus 4? It will give me negative 6. So it will produce a negative answer. So this is negative. Next, I choose the test value 0. So when x is 0, it will produce 0 minus 4, which is negative 4. So again, this is negative. And the last test value is 5, so I put it inside x minus 4. I get 5 minus 4 to be equals to 1, so this is positive. That is my table of sine for x minus 4. And now the next line. The next line, I still use the same test value, that is x equals to negative 2. So what happened when I have x plus 1? See your calculator, what is negative 2 plus 1? It will give me negative 1, that is negative. Test value now is x equals to 0. So when I have 0 plus 1, I get positive 1. And the last one, test value, is 5. So I put it inside x plus 1. I get 5 plus 1 to be equals to 6, which is also positive. Finally, I will now arrive at the answer slowly. So the last line here will be the combination of these two factors, that is x minus 4, x plus 1. So let's see what happened. Negative, negative will be positive. Negative, positive will give me negative. And lastly, positive, positive will give me a positive. So in this third line, are we interested in the positive symbol or the negative symbol? The question here will be answered by looking at the symbol for inequality. Our letter symbol for inequality is less than or equals to 0. So less than 0 means that it is negative. So I'll look at the negative answer. So now my interval notation is I'm only interested in negative because my inequality is less than or equals to 0, which is negative. So my interval notation will be the one in the middle, that is from negative 1 to 4. Close brackets at both ends. And finally, my solution set is equals to, variable is x, so I will take any values in between negative 1 and 4. Since the brackets are closed at both ends, the symbol will be less than or equal to. For example number 2, first of all, since my right hand side is already 0, I can factorize. So 2x minus, no, this is 2x plus 1. When I factorize, here is x minus 3 greater or equals to 0. So to find the value of x, I let 2x plus 1 equals to 0, x minus 3 equals to 0. So here I have x equals to negative half, x equals to 3. So I get two values of x. And now I can start with my table of sine. So from the two values of x just now, above these two lines, I'll put the values of x. Smaller number comes first, so negative half, followed by 3. Now these two numbers will produce a point, and because my inequality is greater or equals to, it will produce a closed point. Next line, I am going to do my interval. So here I have negative half to 3, close, closed. Over here, I have close 3 to positive infinity, and the most left is negative infinity to negative half. Filling in the blanks in the table, now I'm going to consider my factors. These are my factors. So my factors here are 2x plus 1 and x minus 3. Now I will choose my test values. So over here I have negative 1, here I have 0, here I have 4. Now I can Now I can do my sine. So I use my calculator and try to see what happened. Over here, when x is -1, it will produce negative answer. This will give me positive, positive, negative, negative, positive. And finally, I want to answer my question. So what I'm really interested in is this thing. So I will have 2x plus 1, x minus 3. So negative, negative will give me positive, positive, negative will give me negative, and finally positive. Over here, I'm interested in greater than or equals to 0. So greater than or equals to 0 means that I'm interested in a positive number. So this will be positive, positive, the one that I'm interested in. So straight away, I know my answer already. My interval set will be these two intervals. So therefore, interval notation, I have two intervals, so I play with union because I consider everything. So it's negative infinity to negative half, open, close, union with close bracket 3 to positive infinity. And for solution set, I have curly bracket, the variable is x, so x double dot. This will be x smaller or equals to negative half, union means or, and lastly x greater or equals to 3. Okay, now for example number 3, my right hand side is already 0, so I can factorize straight away. So here I have my factors. Now I let them to be equals to 0 so that I can find the value of x. So I found my two values of x. I can now build my table of sine. So above these two lines, I'll put the numbers. Smaller numbers come first, so negative half and 3. And the points here are open. They are open because my latest inequality symbol is just less than. So open bracket. My intervals, open bracket at both ends. Okay, next I'm going to build my factors. So my factors are 2x plus 1 and x minus 3. Fill them in. Now I'm going to put in my test value. Say here I have -1. Here I can choose an easy number 0. Here I can have 4. So press your calculator, see what's going to happen. This will give me negative, positive, positive. This will give me negative, negative, positive. So the one that I'm really interested in is this whole thing. So over here I can write 2x plus 1, x minus 3. Negative, negative will give me positive, negative, and positive. I'm interested in less than 0. Less than 0 means that it's a negative. So I will look at the negative. So the answer is this interval. So now I can write interval notation is equals to negative half, 3, open, open. And solution set is equals to curly bracket x double dot between negative half and 3. The symbol of inequality is less than because the bracket is open. Here are some exercises for you all to try. These are all the solutions. That's all for our video. Thank you very much and I hope you have a nice day.